Construct Worker by Antonio Jacinto. The man Antonio Jacinto was born a white Angolan in 1924. He schooled in Angola and became an officer worker. But I have released, and in fact it is true, that most of his poetry reflected an identity with the downtrodden black Angolan colonial subjects of the time when the Portuguese ruled. Jacinto was a critic of the Portuguese inability to educate the Angolan people, and he was loved in this regard. He was arrested for his activism and sentenced to a 14-year prison term served in the Cape Verde Islands. He was released in the 11th year of his jail term and sent to serve the Portuguese government as an accountant. He escaped and returned to Angola, where he joined the independence struggle, becoming Minister of Education and Culture, the latter Minister of Culture. This line from his Poem of Alienation, is a summary of what he stood for in his work. My poem is the suffering of the laundress daughter. Of all those poets I have read, his poetry appeals to the most. I am always falling to the left of popular opinion. I know, as the greatest Lusophone poet in Africa, is suited to be Agostino Neto. The poem's analysis. A contract worker was an illiterate Angolan recruit whose duty was to serve the colonial government on supposed contract terms in mine in South Africa, but the money was held by the government, with only a bit going to the worker to live in on a while. The rest was purportedly saved for him. On his retirement from duty, the government deducts what it claims as tax and gives him the rest. In faraway South Africa, he had no access to his family, and they were not permitted to visit him either. So Jacinto, in the mind of a contract worker many miles from home, is writing this long lyrical piece to his love. He tells her of the longing he has to see her, and the fear that she might belong to another man by the time he is back, all in the first stanza. In the next stanza, he compares her features to fruit and natural pleasures, which he cannot even find where he is. He tells her also that the letter is about intimate secrets and memories of youth. Eventually, he had missed his lover. In the continuing stanza, he keeps on reminding her of some of the things they did in the past that highlighted for passion, and how bitter it was to be separated. He claims that his letter will be so passionate that even if the wind loses it on its way to sending it to her, all the other creatures and trees, all sympathetic to his cause, will pass it on, one to another, until it gets to her as hot as he wrote it. This is serious passion, romance at the highest, but at the lowest too, a pathetic fallacy. And we are just getting carried away when Jacinto brings us down quickly with the words, "But I cannot understand," and the repetition that somehow confound us. Why? These tell us something is terribly wrong. And before we know it, he has confessed that it is hopeless, that he cannot write, and she too cannot read. Oh, what a waste! This is a powerful poem by any standards. It reflects the single stories of men which were lost in the greater story of the independence struggle. If great men fought for independence, they surely had personal stories too, and this could well be one of the many untold personal stories that died with the unheard colonial subject. God bless Jacinto's heart.